Welcome back to Herd to Harvest. Today, we're stepping onto a farm that feels like walking into a living, breathing piece of American agricultural history. Spread out before us are acres of rolling pasture dotted with mobile coops, and everywhere you look, literally everywhere, is a sea of beautiful barred black and white feathers. We're on a massive Plymouth Rock chicken farm, one of the largest dedicated to this classic breed in the country. And we're here to find out why this heritage dual-purpose bird, developed more than 150 years ago, is still winning hearts, filling egg baskets, and gracing dinner tables all across America. Most people, when they picture a chicken, they picture something golden or white or maybe a reddish brown. But the Plymouth Rock, and specifically the barred rock variety, is the bird that comes to my mind when I think of the classic American homestead. Those alternating bars of dark and light gray against white, like a fine tweed suit woven from feathers. That bright red comb standing tall and proud, those alert, intelligent orange eyes that seem to look right through you. This is the chicken that built a nation's poultry industry, and yet here it is, thriving on a massive scale without losing any of its old-fashioned charm or its practical, productive nature. The day starts early on this farm, just as the sun is lifting over the horizon and the roosters are beginning their rolling chorus of crows. The sound is incredible. It's not the mechanical hum of a factory farm, it's a living symphony. And as we walk through the first of the massive open-sided barns, the birds pour out into the pasture runs like a river of feathers. Let me take you inside and show you what makes this farm and this breed so special. First, a little history, because you can't understand the Plymouth Rock without knowing where it came from. The breed was developed in Massachusetts in the mid-1900s, right around the time of the Civil War. The goal was to create the perfect family chicken, a bird that would lay a steady supply of large brown eggs through the coldest New England winters, but also produce a plump, flavorful carcass for the Sunday dinner table, a true dual-purpose bird. By the early 1900s, the barred Plymouth Rock was the most popular chicken in America. It was the bird you saw scratching in every farmyard, pecking in every barnyard, and filling the crates at every poultry show. Then the Industrial Revolution in agriculture happened. The Cornish cross broiler arrived, a bird bred to grow so fast it could reach butcher weight in 6 weeks. The white leghorn became the queen of the egg factory, laying like a machine, but offering little meat. The dual-purpose breeds were pushed to the margins, kept alive by small family farms and dedicated preservationists. But here on this massive farm, the Plymouth Rock is making a comeback, and it's doing it on its own terms. The farm's owner, a third-generation poultryman named Tom, walks us through his sprawling setup. And sprawling it is. We're talking tens of thousands of birds, but managed in a way that feels more like a series of interconnected homesteads than a single industrial complex. The secret is a rotational system built around portable housing. The birds are raised in large, airy, open-sided barns that can be moved across the pasture on skids. Each barn houses a flock of several hundred birds, giving them plenty of space to move, perch, dust bathe, and express every natural chicken behavior. The barns are moved regularly onto fresh grass, so the birds always have access to clean ground, fresh forage, and a new buffet of insects and seeds. Walking into one of these barns is a sensory experience. The floor is a deep, soft bed of untreated wood shavings and straw that crunches underfoot. The air smells sweet and earthy, not sharp or ammoniated. That's a sign of excellent ventilation and low stocking density. The birds themselves come right up to us. Plymouth Rocks are famous for their calm, personable nature, and these birds are no different. They crowd around our boots, cocking their heads, clucking softly. Some of them are so bold they peck gently at the laces of our shoes, asking for a treat. Tom reaches into his pocket and scatters a handful of whole oats, and the barn erupts in a happy scratch and scramble.
What strikes me first is the uniformity of the flock. These birds are beautiful. Every single hen and rooster displays the classic barred pattern, crisp and clear, with no off colors or muddy markings. That's the result of a rigorous breeding program that Tom and his family have been perfecting for decades. They maintain a flock of elite breeding stock, selected not just for appearance, but for vigor, egg production, growth rate, and temperament. It's the kind of careful, old-school selective breeding that was once common across America and is now rare outside of show breeders and niche preservationists. The egg production side of the farm is impressive. Plymouth Rocks are not the absolute most prolific layers in the world, like the Leghorn, but they are remarkably steady and consistent. A good barred rock hen will lay between 200 and 250 large brown-shelled eggs a year. And unlike many high-production hybrids, they keep laying well into their third and even fourth years. The farm collects eggs 3 times a day. The nest boxes are lined with clean straw and slightly darkened, giving the hens a private, cozy spot to do their work. Watching a hen settle into a nest box, shuffle around, and then stand up a few minutes later to reveal a perfect, warm brown egg is a quiet satisfaction that never gets old. Tom explains that the eggs from this farm command a premium price at the markets they supply. Why? Because the yolks are a deep, rich orange, not the pale yellow of factory eggs. That color comes from the pasture. The hens spend their days eating grass, clover, bugs, worms, and whatever else they find in the soil. That diverse, natural diet translates directly into a nutrient-dense egg with a flavor that chefs and home cooks rave about. The shells are strong and thick, a sign of good calcium metabolism and overall health. When you crack one of these eggs into a hot pan, the yolk stands up tall and proud, and the white stays compact instead of running all over the place. It's the kind of egg your grandmother remembers. But the Plymouth Rock is a dual-purpose bird, and that means the farm also produces meat. This is where the massive scale of the operation becomes truly necessary to make the economics work. A Cornish cross broiler reaches butcher weight in 6 to 8 weeks. A Plymouth Rock cockerel takes 16 to 20 weeks to reach a similar size. That's more than twice the time, and therefore more than twice the feed, more than twice the labor, and more than twice the land. But the result is a bird that tastes like chicken used to taste. The meat is firmer, more flavorful, with a satisfying texture that is completely absent in the mushy, fast-grown supermarket chicken. The skin is thick and golden, the fat is well distributed, and the bones make a stock that is rich and gelatinous. The farm raises its meat birds in separate grow-out pens with the same access to pasture and the same attention to welfare. The cockerels are kept in smaller flocks to prevent the sparring and aggression that can happen when too many roosters are together. They forage just as actively as the hens, and they develop a muscular, athletic physique. When the time comes for processing, the farm handles it with respect and efficiency. They have their own on-facility processing unit, which means the birds don't suffer the stress of transport. The process is quick, humane, and sanitary, and the finished carcasses are air-chilled instead of water-chilled, which preserves both flavor and texture. One of the most beautiful things about this farm is the integration of the birds into the entire ecological cycle of the land. The portable barns are not just housing, they are fertility engines. After a barn is moved, the pasture it vacated is covered in a light, even coating of nitrogen-rich manure. That manure feeds the soil microbes, which in turn feed the grasses and legumes that will regrow lush and green within weeks. The farm follows the chickens with a flock of sheep or a herd of cattle, grazing the newly enriched pasture and further cycling nutrients. Nothing is wasted. The manure is not a pollutant to be managed, it's the fuel that drives the whole system. The feed for the birds is a mix of locally grown grains, primarily corn, soybeans, and wheat, along with mineral supplements and a small amount of fish meal for protein. The farm grows much of its own feed on surrounding fields, using the composted litter from the barns as fertilizer. This closes the loop in a way that is almost unheard of in modern poultry production. The birds eat grain grown on the farm, their manure fertilizes the fields that grow that grain, and the cycle continues year after year, building topsoil and sequestering carbon. Now, let's talk about the challenges, because raising Plymouth Rocks on this scale is not all sunshine and golden yolks. The biggest challenge is the slower growth rate and lower feed efficiency compared to industrial hybrids. The farm has to charge more for its eggs and meat to cover the extra costs. That means they need customers who understand and value what they're doing. Education is a constant part of the job. Every farmer's market, every restaurant delivery, every conversation with a new buyer is an opportunity to explain why heritage breed chicken has a darker, richer flavor, why the eggs are more expensive but worth it, and why supporting farms like this helps preserve genetic diversity in our food system.
Genetic diversity is a huge issue that most people never think about. Today, over 90% of the world's commercial chicken meat comes from just 2 or 3 hybrid strains. The egg industry is similarly dominated by a single type, the white leghorn. This concentration is a risk. If a disease or a market shift wipes out those strains, we have lost the genetic insurance policy that heritage breeds provide. Plymouth Rocks carry genes for cold hardiness, for predator awareness, for foraging ability, and for natural immunity that simply don't exist in the inbred lines of industrial poultry. Every flock like this one is a living gene bank, preserving these traits for a future that may desperately need them. As the afternoon sun slants across the pasture, we walk through a paddock of breeding hens and their attendant roosters. The roosters are magnificent, tall and proud, with deep chests and flowing sickle feathers in their tails. They crow with authority, and they watch over their hens with a protective, alert posture. A good Plymouth Rock rooster is a gentleman. He will find a tasty bug and call his hens over with a soft, trilling cluck, dropping the morsel for them to eat. Watching this small, gallant act of chivalry in a field of 10,000 birds reminds me that these are not production units. They are living creatures with complex social lives and individual personalities, and they deserve a life worth living. The farm has a small hatchery on site as well. The incubators are filled with rows of beautiful brown eggs, each one gently turning, mimicking the action of a broody hen. In 3 weeks, those eggs will hatch into clouds of fluffy black and yellow chicks with the distinct white dot on their heads that is characteristic of the barred rock breed. The hatchery supplies replacement pullets for the laying flocks and cockerels for the meat operation, as well as selling day-old chicks to other farms and backyard keepers across the country. It's a self-sustaining cycle that hasn't relied on buying in chicks from an outside hatchery for years. We finish our tour in the egg packing room, where a simple conveyor belt carries the day's collection past a team of workers who candle, grade, and pack each egg by hand. The eggs are beautiful, uniform in their warm brown color, each one a small, perfect package of nutrition and flavor. They'll be on store shelves and in restaurant kitchens by tomorrow morning, and on someone's breakfast plate by the weekend. Tom pauses by the window, looking out at the flocks scattered across the pasture like a living, moving carpet. He tells me that his grandfather started this farm with a dozen barred rock hens and a single rooster back when everyone kept Plymouth Rocks and no one thought twice about it. Now he's part of a growing movement of farmers who are bringing these old breeds back, not as museum pieces, but as working animals in a modern, profitable farm system. The business works, the market is there, and the birds are the best part. That's what I want you to take away from this farm tour. The Plymouth Rock chicken is more than a pretty face. It's more than nostalgia. It's a practical, productive, resilient, and deeply satisfying bird to raise, whether you have 5 hens in your backyard or 5,000 in a pasture-based system like this one. It connects us to our agricultural past, but it also points the way toward a more sustainable, more humane, and more flavorful future. Thank you for walking through this massive Plymouth Rock chicken farm with me today on Herd to Harvest. If this look inside a world-class heritage poultry operation gave you a new appreciation for the barred birds in your own flock, or inspired you to seek out better eggs and meat, please hit that thumbs up so other folks can discover this story. And if you're not subscribed yet, I would be honored to have you join our community of homesteaders and farmers who believe that the old ways, the good ways, are worth preserving and worth fighting for. Now go check your nest boxes. I'll see you in the next one.